Welcome over to Chasing Tents. My name is Abby. Thank you so much for joining me, guys, to this new episode from the Garage series we're doing with TBR Performance, who are just outside Swindon, lovely Hungerford countryside. Now, I'm here this time with my own bike because I've been invited to the 5-hour endurance race with No Limits Racing at Donington Park by a team. I can say it's my old team from 2022 with 2 new people. Now I'll be replacing Jamie Harris, and I've been given 2 weeks notice by the team to sort my bike out. And when you say 2 weeks, with my full-time job in the bank, probably I've got 1 weekend. So within the last 48 hours, I've done a lot of kind of running around with the bike because I had a small crash at Andalusia. If you remember, I did a small video, an episode before this, about the crash damage and everything. So I've already been to my mate Gogo, who is a fantastic chap. My bike is always at his during winter time if I've had a crash, because he just tinkers with it, sorts it out. And I put some new crash protection on the bike. He did a lot of work. We checked everything because the bike kind of fell on its side. We checked the airbox to make sure there's no oil in there, there's no gravel in there. We just checked everything, cleaned the bike as well properly, and also put some fresh crash protection on it. I am a bit of a stickler when it comes to crash protection. I put a lot of it. Then unfortunately the oil and filter didn't turn up on time, so the next day I'm here in Swindon, well, Hungerford, with the TBR Performance with the rest of the bits. So I'm going to get Gareth on the mic soon, or on the video. He might be helping me, but I've had a bit of a reality check by Matt. So Matt, who runs TBR Performance, I spoke to him earlier and said, can I come over and can you do some work on my bike? He goes, I'll only do some work on your bike if you turn up and help us with it. Get the wrench, get the spanner, and do some work. And I am absolutely rubbish when it comes to even changing my brake pads on my bike. I can't do anything. So I've been given the task to do some work on my bike. So this is going to be a very impromptu, very kind of informal video of me around TBR Performance Workshop trying to work on my own bike, and it's just going to be probably a disaster, but we don't want it to be a disaster. We want to go home in one piece. So I'll take you inside with me and tell you what work we're going to be doing on the bike. Okay, welcome back, guys. As this is a very informal video, let's just start with a bit of a tour of TBR Performance. I mean, this is one part. There's another building right next door, but I've actually made a massive mess here. So that's the workshop where all the good bits happen in terms of your kind of race conversions, track conversions, and I'll speak to Gareth in a minute and we'll tell you all about it. Oh, lovely calendar with all the racetracks bits. Some of the Gucci stuff here, some qualifications of suspension and all sorts of Matt, and all helmets of Matt, and the computers and the office. And this is a chill out area, I think, for people who want to come in, and there's going to be a PlayStation here, surround sound, so people can chill out while the bike's getting worked. This is all my stuff, so yeah, I have made a lot of mess here. So I brought my old tires. I've just made a mess, but let me show you bits. So you've seen this room. This is where all the suspension stuff happened. That's your gas for the suspension, the rear shock especially. That's the some of the suspension which is going to getting worked on, and yeah, quite clean. I mean, this area needs to be spotless, and it's always spotless, and that's just someone's bike, and that's some kind of early Christmas presents for someone probably. Okay, so what have I got and what am I here to do? First things first, okay, I brought some old tires, so we're going to see which is the best one. Well, that's definitely not the best one. Which is the best one we can put for the race, because I am on a bit of a budget. This was a last minute thing. I didn't plan to race this year. I can't afford to race this year, so this is probably a one-off race, but I just can't afford new tires, and just, I've spent too much money in 2022 on new tires, and I've got plenty in the garage. So I'll choose the best pair out of these and take it from there. Yesterday when I told you we did Gogo, my good mate who does a bit of track and race conversions for people, and I'll leave his Instagram link at the bottom. If you want to contact him, you can. But at his house, this was what I was doing. Every time I lean, I think my rear shock either is too soft or I just lean too much sometimes, and I just make a hole in my fairing. So I put 4 layers of fiberglass here and repaired it nicely, because you will fail scrutineering, and I did fail scrutineering in 2022 on my first race. I had a bit of a hole in my fairing from, again, leaning too much, or my rear shock is just, the rear shock's spring is just too soft, and I just need to sort it out. I've seen in my lot of videos as well, when I've had some slow-mo footage by the photographers, my rear this rear, but the bottom fairing does kind of scratch or kind of touch the floor quite a bit. That I need to do. That's just my camera bag, that's just my gym bag, but I've got a lot of crash protection in there, which we've already put on the bike yesterday with Gogo, and that's my oil and filter. We're going to change that. That's my bike cover. I brought my original shock from rear, the original Olins, which came, at the moment I've got TTX GP on the bike, but that's my original one. I just brought it here to see if the spring from this can be used on the TTX GP, if it's a stiffer spring. And that, my friends, is that's just a bag of spares. That, my friends, is a carbon fiber wheel. Okay, it's a company called Reveri, limited.uk. They are really serious people. When I say serious, they deal with carbon composite race car and track day products. So if you've ever damaged a carbon wheel or carbon product, carbon fairing, or anything to do with carbon, they will repair it for you. So I had a bit of a crash with this carbon wheel. It went to them and they've completely scanned the wheel, re-lacquered it, just checked everything. There was a slight damage on the side, the what you call it, the lip of the wheel, the lip, and they sorted that out as well. Basically, they put it through a real big scanner where they put all the LMP2, the Le Mans cars and stuff like that. They're very big. This company is huge. I forgot where they are. You can Google them. And I've got no kind of affiliation with them at all. But the reason I'm putting a kind of a completely refurbed carbon wheel, I mean, it wasn't damaged. It had no cracks, nothing. It just needed a bit of sprucing up and a bit of lip damage from, unfortunately, a tire guy who didn't do a good job. No names to be mentioned. The reason I'm changing my rear carbon, which is already in a great shape, to that one is there's plenty of nuts here which are completely sealed. This one unfortunately broke. Half of it came out, half of it has gone in a spoke. So if you can hear this, yeah, it sounds like a children's toy. So half screw or nut has gone inside one of the spokes. I mean, the carbon wheel is in a great shape. I think I've had this wheel now for 5 years, and I've had it scanned after every off or every 2 years, and it's done me well. But I think that's just an unfortunate thing that's happened. So I'm going to remove this one and put that one on. But before I show you everything around my bike, I'm going to introduce you to Gareth, who's working on a track bike. And just to throw a line on the bike, what do you guys do when you convert a bike from a from a road bike to a track bike?
So it depends how the bikes come to us. Sometimes people bring us a fully grown road bike and they need it only as a track bike. Sometimes they need it as a race bike. Sometimes they bring us a track bike and they need it as a real race bike. And it all depends, first and foremost, the rules are the rules. So the bike has to comply with the race rules, otherwise they're not getting on. And then it sort of just depends on their budget, what they want to do. Can be suspension, front and rear, setting up switches, making the bike easier to work on, making certain nuts captive. But essentially, we can do anything. It just depends how much time you want us to spend on it. But they're all different, but they all end up the same. But this was an old race bike. It's only a 2004 Gixxer 6. It was a race bike. Then it went to a track bike, then it went to a road bike, and now it's got to be a race bike again. So half of it's done, but we're just doing a few bits like getting rid of the key so that it doesn't lose it in a crash, just put in the mounts for lock wiring, change the coolant out, but this hasn't had too much done to it. We did a spring rate change for him because he's quite a different weight to the previous owner. But this is a bit of a smaller project and fitting a rain light and stuff. But yeah, road bike to race bike, easy peasy.
Okay, so you heard from Gareth, what's he doing and what all the work is going to be done on that bike. But let's come back to my bike because this is the main event of the evening and I'm going to be doing some work on that myself. I cannot believe that. So you already know about the carbon wheel, which is going to be changed to that other one, which is beautifully lacquered, new ceramic bearing on it, and it's just gonna look fantastic. And obviously unsprung mass and all that. I've made plenty of videos on carbon and all that. Okay, so we've already done a lot of work. So since the Andalusia crash, as you can see, there's some blemishes. I've already made a video on that earlier. We've just basically, me and Gogo that day did a bit of fiber work, which I showed you earlier, the fiberglass work, and cleaned the bike completely, and obviously put some new crash protection. And that's about it, really. We just made sure everything is just spot on. And today, it's all going to be about doing an oil and filter change, which I'm going to help out, or I might have to do it. I don't know. I'll try to escape from that as much as I can, but I have to. Gareth is laughing right now. But yeah, so an oil and filter change today, carbon wheel change with the new tire or part used tire, which I brought, and front tire change as well. Just going to check the heat sensor on the front one, because on the third day at Andalusia, the heat sensor inside the wheel stopped working on the i2M dash. So I don't know now if it will work. It's going to do a bit of disco dancing first. Disco volante, word taken from Alpha. Let's see. Okay, will it? It takes a while for the heat sensors to really turn up. So that's the front sensor, that's the rear sensor. The bike's not been started for what, 4 months? There you go. Straight away, 15 degrees centigrade is the rear. Front is not coming on. I hope it comes on. Will it? Let's give it 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. No. So that, I just got to double check to make sure the front sensor's okay. Everything else is touch wood fine. Yeah, so oil and filter change. Got to put that crash protection on, because the RNG screw, which was basically the one behind this one, the bolt, this came apart and that's stuck. So I'll see if Matt can do some magic with this old school lathe and stuff and get that out for me. Otherwise I'll just order a new one. This is no big deal. And just do a quick dyno run to make sure that the bike is running all right. I'm not looking for any horsepower. We're not doing any remap. I just want to run the bike on the dyno to make sure everything runs okay after an oil and filter change. And just do a bit of a lock wire check, to safety check, to make sure the bike's safe for the race. It's going to be a 5-hour race. I might have to do 2 or 3 stints, and we'll take it from there. So yeah, now you'll probably see me doing some work on my bike, which I might speed up a bit, because it's going to look really bad. So the first task I've been told to do is warm the bike up, start the bike. A lot of people say I never turn my bike on in my videos, because they all want to hear the V4. There's plenty of onboard footage, guys, you can watch that. But let's start the bike. The bike's not been started for ages. The battery looks all right, but we'll start the bike. It's going to make a lot of racket in this indoor workshop. And then once the oil is nice and warm, we can then drain the oil. As the oil is getting drained, I'll start working on the rear wheel. I say I start working, but we'll see. Oh, he can hear me. All right, let's go. Oh, ignition on. Oh, whoa, the i2M dash is going. The battery's, there we go. The battery is weak. I cannot believe it, because I've had it fully charged and the battery is weak. I'm quite surprised. So when the i2M dash starts showing lines, you need to turn it off. I hope that hasn't damaged anything. Ugh. But yeah, it's time to charge the bike and we'll take it from there. So that was a minor hiccup. So what we've done is standard procedure. As you can tell, the battery was low, which I'm quite surprised that it was low, but I've had it trickle charged. It's a lithium battery, and I think I read on the Shido, it's a Shido battery. I read on the Shido battery's manual that it doesn't like to be trickle charged all the time. So I do charge it for 3 days and I take it off for 2 days and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll let that charge and I'll start working on the rear wheel. And by the way, just a pointer, okay, I know the carbon fiber hating clan straight away gets on the thing saying, oh, can't believe that's happened. I mean, this wheel has been on the bike for 5 years. I've done plenty of endurance racing. I've done plenty of track days. It's done me really well. It looks good as brand new. It's got ceramic bearing and everything. I would always say to people, if you're running carbon wheels on your bike, just every 2 years, unless you've had a crash, every 2 years, just get everything checked out, get everything looked at. This, I've spoken to BST in South Africa already. So BST, if you never knew, is a South African company. I've given them a ring and they've said this is very, very rare, but they said there are plenty of other nuts. Oh, I hate that annoying noise. But it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think, and that's 7th, or 6 or 7. But they said it's only one of them is missing, so it was still okay to ride the bike. But it's good if you send the wheel to us, or I'll probably send it to Bike HPS in Derby, who are importers of BSD, and they can probably get that sorted out. So yeah, a note to the carbon wheel hating people. Carbon wheels have never gone wrong on me for years. I've been using them since 2017 regularly, and the only time I ever needed to scan them is after a big crash, and they've been fantastic. So yeah, let's get started on the wheel while the bike gets charged. Well, it's break time. The boss man isn't in, Matt, so I'm sitting in his chair. I'm sure he won't mind. And having some Uncle Ben's rice with some meatballs and a Fanta. Not very healthy, but yeah, needs must. Really tiring working on your own bike. I've been doing some of the jobs, but Gareth has been helping me. But yeah, the battery is nearly charged on the bike. We're going to start that soon. But what I wanted to show you is the carbon wheel, which is come back from that company Riveri, which I showed you earlier, is packed as if it's like a brand new wheel. They've done a really good job. Let me see. I've had this in my garage for nearly 2 years, no, a year and a half, and oh, it's really well packed. Okay, so the packaging on this one was really in depth, so had to unpack it properly, and what we got to do is this goes straight away onto that, so BSD to BSD. Just got to take the disc off and put it there as well, and this valve thing, that's about it. Otherwise it looks, they've done a good job. Relacquered. The bead is absolutely like factory. They are a brilliant company. They do all the Mon cars repairs. They do all sorts. So it was only a slight, it wasn't a dangerous thing, just a slight scratch here because the tire change guy damaged it a bit. But yeah, it's just the lip is absolutely stunning. So yeah, it's a good company if you want any carbon bits repaired. But yeah, it's just carbon wheel to carbon wheel. That one definitely will go to BST to get that whole thing. That needs a new nut, and obviously it's sealed. It's the way they seal it. It's quite interesting. So yeah, the bike's still in base. We've cleaned these. It's still charging. It's charged, I think. We can start the bike very soon. Am I okay to start the bike? Yeah? All right. You know what? While we're at it, let's just unplug it first. And can I lower it a bit?
Yeah, oh, it's safety ramp.
Safety ramp, okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Down. Coming down nicely. I'm pretty sure it's not in gear. So yeah, the calipers cleaned up beautifully. The titanium pistons with ventilated pistons. They are titanium. They're lovely clean. Look at that, all that. You know, that was 2 days of riding at Andalusia. That's how important it is to clean your calipers. I've done a video on that before as well. So let's see if it's in neutral. I'm pretty sure it was in neutral. Yeah, it's in neutral. Let's start the bike. Did a bit of a hiccup. Started. But yeah, I definitely think we need to. I'll go out. Oh, it started to rain. I definitely need. I definitely think we need to check the battery on that one, because I do not want the battery to go kaput during the race. So alright, it's time to fit the tires onto the new wheel, put a new valve, put a new tyre in the front, oil and filter change, and the job is done. And we've got about an hour and a half before we close, so we better get busy.
3 hours later.
Welcome back, guys. This is the next day. I've come back from TBR Performance, and you've got to excuse the sunglasses because it's really sunny. Sun's just there. I've even had to put an ND filter on the lens of the camera because it's such a bright day, which is a good thing, to be honest, being in the UK. We rarely get days like this in spring. Anyway, so we've come back from TBR Performance. A lot of work was done on the bike, mainly servicing, oil and filter. Air filter wasn't changed because that's absolutely fine. Spark plugs weren't changed. I cleaned the brake calipers. We replaced the front tire to a nearly used or a used tire from a race from last year. I think I only did one stint of 1 hour. I think it was a Cadwell Park tire on the front. Not last year, in 2022. Anyways, we couldn't do the rear because the carbon wheel, which I got back from those people who kind of sprayed, kind of lacquered it and scanned the carbon wheel and everything. They didn't put the air valve or the tire valve or the wheel valve, 90-degree valve in there. And we were a bit skeptical to put one on because, you know, it's just one of those things. The hole was very rough. So what I did was I gave those people a ring in the morning saying, guys, you forgot to put this tire valve, and they've apologized. Anyways, I took it to my local tire people, which is Addison's Tires in the Black Country, and they sorted it out for me. They are absolutely fantastic, especially when it comes to carbon wheels. I trust them very much. I put a new Metzeler TD in the end because the spare rear tires I had weren't really good enough, and because it was a 5-hour race, or because it is a 5-hour race, I didn't know what stints I'm going to be doing and how long those stints are going to be. So I've gone and bought a new Metzeler TD. I always get along with Metzeler TD. The day is going to be a bit chilly, so Metzeler TD suits the bill and the budget. Anyways, everything else is absolutely fine on the bike. The only thing I've not done, there's a little screw which holds the rear tray. And I couldn't really get the right one, but I've got someone coming tomorrow to the race who's going to bring it to me, my good friend Gogo. And also, I think he's going to bring another battery for me, because I'm a bit skeptical with this battery. The battery is not very good. As you saw earlier, we struggled to start the bike. It does start, but it's hard work for it. So I'm a bit worried about that. But that's it. We are prepped and prepared for the race at Donington Park. This is going to be a 5-hour, 700-kilometer race, whichever comes first. So I'll hope to see you on the next vlog, which is all going to be about the race and what happened at the race. Thanks guys for watching. It's a bit of a long video. I didn't want it to be that long, but sometimes these things happen. Take care, look after yourselves. Thanks for watching.